The Islamic takeover. Good afternoon. I've seen some interesting clips from the campaign the Green Party are running in Gorton and Denton regarding potential issues that voters may want to vote on and actually get people elected to Parliament on the back of the Green Party ticket. And I think it's important and prescient to show you these clips and then take my opinion on it. Alright? So the first clip I'm going to show you is from a Leeds Green Councillor, I think he is. His name is Mothan Ali. And let's see what his green policies are and what the Green Party is campaigning on down in Gorton and Denton.
Starmer last year or the year before, he made a comment saying people from Bangladesh weren't being removed. You know, Shabana Mahmood said she wants to restrict visas from Pakistan and restrict indefinite leave to remain. Things that will deeply, deeply impact Muslim communities. They'll deeply impact the way we live. I think during Ramadan it's always going to be difficult, and no one likes talking politics in Ramadan. People like to focus on their spirituality. But right now we're in the middle of a fight between the hate of reform and the hope of the Greens.
I would be suspicious of anybody using the phrase hope not hate. They've had a lot of bad press recently. So when they're talking these talking points, hope not hate, just be curious on why they're doing that. They want to shut down any dissent and they want to say our way or the highway. And you're a bigot, you're a xenophobe if you think different. Well, I do think different and I'll call it out here. That's my free speech, and screw you, to be honest. Have you heard any green policies? Have you heard any green policies from this campaigner yet? What about the environmental impact of wind farms? What about clean energy policy? What about investing into hydro or nuclear? Litter, rubbish collecting in the local area, green policies, how to make the United Kingdom more environmentally friendly, away from the green agenda, actual back to basics bread and butter stuff. How about the collateral damage of animals on wind farms? Any of this of note to the Green Party? I'm curious.
We've got an option of transforming this country. You know, this is such a pivotal election.
This is alarming. You have a Muslim campaigning on a sectarian platform with a Green Party rosette talking about transforming the country. What's he getting at here? He's not actually hiding it at this point. He's saying we are here. Let's remember Islam, Muslims, that is a foreign entity to the United Kingdom. That shouldn't be controversial. That is the reality of the situation. And he is saying we have the ability to transform this country. Into what? Can you tell me into what? That would be great.
If we win here, the dialogue in this country just changes. It changes from reform being able to freely spread their hate and their Islamophobia.
Islamophobia isn't a thing. Islamophobia isn't real. If you have a rational and reasoned fear of an invading religion to the United Kingdom, that is not irrational. So it's not a phobia. Be careful with your language. Words matter.
To one where they're challenged, and they're challenged by a serious political party who's ready to hold their feet to the fire and say, no, we're going to be the shield, and we're going to stand up, and we're going to protect our communities.
Okay, protect how? Protect how? And you say the Green Party of England and Wales is a serious party? Have you seen their policies? I'll put them up on screen now. They're not serious party at all. They're completely ridiculous. Absolute clown show.
And that's exactly what we've got to do. So even though people will be fasting and they will be wanting to focus on their worship, it's now time to make sure that we...
So we'll leave that one there. Now, the next clip I want to show you is from a debate or hustings from the local candidates in the area. Now, as we all know, Hannah Spencer, she's well-to-do, she's married to a bigwig for a big pharma company, and she lives in one of the most opulent areas of the United Kingdom. She's not working class, but she has an attack of dumb blonde in this video. Pardon the stereotype, but sometimes it's true. So we're going to play this clip.
What we did after the terror attacks was we came together and we stuck up for each other.
This is obviously referring to the Manchester Evening News terrorist attack by an Islamist extremist. She's saying they came together as a community, you know, the usual platitudes. Don't look back in anger, diversity is a strength, and that's pretty much it. That's what she's campaigning on. That is her message.
But you've never asked why are those things happening?
There we go. That is the important point here. Nobody is asking, or very few people until recently, are asking about integration. If you come to the United Kingdom, how are you assimilating to our culture? The English or the British culture should always be the dominant culture. You adhere to our standards, our way of life, our cultural norms. If you don't like it, you know where the door is. That's the simple reality. Now, what she says next is absolutely shocking.
Of course we have.
Why are they happening?
Of course we have, because people like you are dividing.
So I'm responsible for the Manchester Evening.
So she actually says the quiet bit out loud. The problem is not that the Islamists are blowing up people. It's not that they are deeply sectarian and think that non-believers are haram or less than them, inferior. That's not the problem. The problem is if you question whether they intend to or can actually integrate and assimilate into the broader British culture. That is the problem. And she's just said the quiet bit out loud. It's because people like you are talking about it, having difficult conversations, or trying to have a dialogue at least. That's the problem, according to the loony leftists in the Green Party.
That's not what I've just said. That's not what I've
That's exactly what you just said, you dumb dimbo.
We have very real issues with integration, and I've even had lots of minority Brits in this seat say exactly the same thing.
That's completely agreed. Integration's a major issue. There should be no foreign language signs anywhere in Britain, is for one example. And other foreign practices like child marriage, FGM, halal slaughter, kosher slaughter should all be outlawed. Now, the final clip I want to show you is something I agree with wholeheartedly from Mr. Bean himself. This is from a few years ago, but it's prescient now.
Called the new intolerance, a new but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent. I am not intolerant, say many people, say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded people. I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh, yes, wise words, wise words. And yet if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds, you realize that all it is advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another.
Precisely. They are tolerant of views unless they don't agree with those views. And that is the intolerance of the left and the liberal class media. They don't want to have these conversations that everybody on the street is having. The transformation of our United Kingdom into something we never voted for and don't recognise. They don't want to have that conversation.
Which to me doesn't represent any kind of progress at all. Underlying prejudices, injustices or resentments are not addressed by arresting people. They are addressed by the issues being aired, argued and dealt with, preferably outside the legal process.
So we'll leave this here. So I asked yourself, if you're up in Gorton and Denton, or in England and Wales in general, what is it specific, Green policy-wise, the Green Party actually supports? They've been appropriated and they are misrepresenting. They should change the name of the party. They are not for any type of green agenda outside of net zero, which is a communist com job, all about wealth distribution from the bottom to the top. They're about making sure they get voted in. So it's deeply sectarian politics along racial lines, something that's not been seen on the mainland in the United Kingdom. We've seen parts of it in Northern Ireland against Catholics and Protestants, but that's religions based in the United Kingdom and have grounding and roots in Europe. It's not about a invading ideology. This should concern everybody, and if only we had a vehicle that could give the British people, the majority of the people in the country, a platform, a, dare I say, Christian or sectarian platform of our own. Maybe that's where we're going. Time will tell. Well, I very much appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Do all of that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.